How's the garden coming?
Terrible.
What's the matter?
I need a consultation.
All right,
Y'all, it is,
come up and check it out.
My deal just did, I put the wrong stuff in the boxes or something. Water.
6 o'clock, and I'm calling the meeting of the Longview ISD Board of Trustees to order.
I don't think you're on.
Gavel.
You on? Sound like it.
Oh, Michael. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me on the can you hear me on the live feed? Can you hear me now? Okay. Hello, board members and staff. If you would please rise with me, Shan Bauer will lead us in our invocation and pledge.
We bow. Heavenly Father, I just come to you today just to say thank you. Thank you for all the things you've done for us individually, for this district as a whole. Continue to guide us through each and every decision that we make. For the decision is not for our own, it is for those we care about the most, since the children of this district, our employees, and the community as a whole. I ask that you guide us through this night and continue to give us guidance in all the decisions we make during this pandemic. I pray that all of our children, parents, family members, and staff are safe. Each day is forever changing, but with you, we know what to do, and that your will is the way. Thank you for all these blessings in your Son, Jesus' name. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, a nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Under the Texas flag, pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, Shan.
Okay.
Dr. Hockenberry? You're going to give the community relations report?
Information in front of you that'll help hear the report. It's pretty self-explanatory. I want to draw your attention to, this is a special edition coming out. Recognize the class of 2020 in the voice, and also we've taken steps to recognize local businesses, help promote them during their difficult time, and future areas will be highlighted and promoted through the voice as well. In the report, you're going to see also we're closely monitoring our reach and where we're getting the most hits, and we've got plans to dramatically try to spread news as far out as we can and get into the hands of most people. Constantly talking, constantly thinking, trying to think of new and innovative ways to purpose department and get the good news out and help people along the way. Any questions?
I think one of the things that Dr. Hockenberry and his department has done that I think is really something that deserves attention is the emphasis they put on their community partners. Dr. Hockenberry, you want to mention that a little bit and go over that with the board, what we're trying to do?
It's in your packet. I know that, there's some people struggling right now, and we wanted to focus on some of those people this edition. If you go to the digital version, there's a little more to the publication. We're just trying to prop them up, and the papers are going to be hand delivered to those businesses. We're also going to extend ourselves to them as much as they need for as long as they need. So future editions, we're going to talk about the healthcare workers and others as well. But this is the first of special promotions that we're going to do to help prop up those that have struggled the most during this time. There's more to come.
Thank you.
William, do you have anything on safety tonight?
It's our multi-hazard emergency operation plan and also our safety audit that is going to be up for you all to vote on a little later on. But also I want to tell you that in these documents here, with Senate Bill 11, it requires more. So even though this plan may seem like just a framework, we have some other things that we have to put in place, such as health and medical annex, and they call them functional annexes. Reunification, if we had to reunify, how we're going to do that. You can also see from our surveys and our audit that we're going to have to shift gears next year. It's not going to be our traditional just training, but due to COVID-19, this is going to be a big part of our training on teaching our teachers, teaching our students and whatever else how to take the different precautions to be as safe as possible. So this is an ongoing framework. It's never completed, but the safety audit is required every 3 years, so we had to submit it before August. That's why we bring that to you, and then the multi-hazard emergency operation plan, we bring it to you every year. A lot of times we bring it to you in August, but we're bringing it to you a little bit earlier now. Are there any questions?
Thank you.
Art?
Bill Cox, members of the board, my pleasure this morning to get, this evening to give you an update on the teacher incentive allotment. We submitted our application to TEA this past Friday. Our next step in this process will be the data submission to Texas Tech University, and that's due June the 1st, but we'll be submitting that prior to that date. We're very excited to be putting forth 54 teachers out of 158 eligible for designations in this first round. As you recall, the designations are master, exemplary, and recognized. We're targeting our teachers in STAR-tested grades 4 through the EOC in this first round. And Texas Tech University will review our data submission for accuracy and reliability. We'll receive our final notification of approval by August 1. And the initial TIA payment from TEA should arrive by September the 30th this fall. And the initial payment will include a reimbursement for the data processing fee, which is $500 per teacher put forth for a designation. And in our case, that's $27,000. Just to give you a quick breakdown of our designees at the various campuses, Ramlet will have a total of 4, 1 master, 3 exemplary, and no recognized. Everhart will have a total of 5, no master, 4 exemplary, and 1 recognized. Hudson Pet will have a total of 7, 1 master, 4 exemplary, and 2 recognized. Constant McQueen will not have any going forth for a designation. Ed Williams will have a total of 5, 2 master, 1 exemplary, and 2 recognized. South Ward will have a total of 3, 1 master, and 2 recognized. Ware will have 1 person, and that will be for a recognized status. Forest Park will have a total of 9, 2 master, 5 exemplary, and 2 recognized. And Foster, which is our top campus, will have a total of 12, 4 master, 3 exemplary, and 5 recognized. Judson will have 1 exemplary put forth for designation. Longview High School will have a total of 4, 1 exemplary, and 3 recognized. Lead Academy will have a total of 3, 1 exemplary, 2 recognized, and gives you a total of 3, and that gives us our 54 total. That's 34% of our eligible teachers that will be put forth for designation. That's real close to the target of 33% that the state put out. In our data submission, that's going to consist of 3 files that will be going to Texas Tech. Number 1 file will be the teachers that we're putting forth for the designations. Number 2 file will be every eligible teacher, all 158. It will include their growth data so that Texas Tech and check the reliability and the accuracy of those we put forth for designations. And then finally, file 3 is a description of how we calculate growth for each measure. And as you're well aware, we use VAM, or a value-added measure, which is calculated by EVOS for us every year when we get our test data in. Without getting too technical, the value-added index indicates the overall level of evidence that a teacher's students either exceeded or fell short of expected growth. As I reported to you previously, House Bill 3 requires the teacher incentive allotment designations be made based on the teacher's evaluation score coupled with student growth. But since this district has been paying incentive pay based on student growth only and not including the teacher evaluation, we will get a 2-year probationary period in which to phase in the teacher observation part of the equation. Depending on the designation and the poverty level of the school at which the teacher works, the teacher incentive allotment provides a range of between $3,000 to $32,000 in incentive funding going to the teachers at our high poverty campus, with the most going to the teachers at the high poverty campus. And finally, let me remind you that the legislative intent or goal of the teacher incentive allotment is to provide a realistic pathway to a 6-figure salary for our teaching staff, in addition to helping attract and keep our most effective educators in the classroom at our most challenging campuses. TIA, or the teacher incentive allotment compensation, will be in addition to the current LIFT program. What questions could I answer?
Question. Based upon, and it kind of goes with the last sentence that you said, as we look forward, has TEA provided any alternative guidance as it relates to if we're using STAR in some of the to measure that growth, and if that's been suspended at this present time, looking forward, has TEA, and then for us, as to the LIFT program, what alternative methods have we looked at to go ahead and evaluate and look at moving that forward?
We're investigating what assessments we can give at the beginning of the school year in order to be able to measure growth for this past year. And we're looking at some options that are available. There's an online assessment that we possibly can give. At this time, we're investigating because we don't want to go a year without LIFT. So we're seeing what can we use that will be reliable and accurate in order to come up with those growth figures. Now, what we have done, this would be Dr. Hockenberry, they have already put out to the teachers to submit their rosters. We're going to have everything ready as soon as we determine exactly what growth instrument that we're going to be able to use in order for LIFT this next school year. Dr. Hockenberry may be able to elaborate a little more on that.
I I'll just hit on it, but the data that, well, let me back up. Current pandemic situation has basically exacerbated the have and have-nots. So those students that economically disadvantaged or that are impacted on that digital divide at this present time, I'm just curious as to what information or what methods are we going to be utilizing to gauge, especially, let's say, a lot of mobile students. I can't remember the actual percentage. We didn't have a lot of mobile, if I'm not mistaken, correct? But, those are students regardless. but how to track and maintain and try to not let those individuals, those students fall through the cracks.
We have been looking at and discussing several options, one being when we find out, and Mr. Williams would probably be able to elaborate a little more on this. He has talked about bringing students possibly back early if we can, and working to get them caught up. Plus, he is ordering Chromebooks, beginning with all of our economically disadvantaged students to make sure that all of our students have a Chromebook, plus ordering hotspots to make sure that all of our students have access, online access. And that's all in the works right now. And as I said, we have just talked about bringing students back earlier in August, but we're waiting to see what the governor and the commissioner say about that. And I may be a little bit out of my lane.
Curious too.
They're weekly, Tuesday, Thursday.
Right, but certainly we want to. I don't want to speak out of turn, but I know we want to do everything that we possibly can, create every opportunity to make sure that our students don't fall behind, because when the STAR test does come back, we're going to have to perform. So we have to have the students ready.
Ed, can you check your mic?
Now it's on.
Not talking.
Okay, any other questions?
No, okay. I'm curious about it. We had 158 teachers.
In grades 4 through the EOC tested areas. We're going to begin with the tested areas first, and then we're going to expand it.
So, 4 teachers and to be part of this.
They're going to be recommended for the designation. Yes, ma'am.
Designation, thank you. Those 54 are based on evaluation and their student growth combined.
No, they're only because we have been paying previously only on growth, and that's how we measure here in Longview. Our first group of designees will be based solely on student growth. And that will be the value-added index is what that is, and that's what EVOS figures for us. We send our data off to them, as you well know, and then they send us those reports back. And they have also been, they have been contracted with by TEA to work with the TIA. So it's really great that we've been working with EVOS for the past several years. It kind of gives us an insight. And they provided us a lot of assistance in this.
Teachers, following up on what Jenny is saying, is that we're recommended that have been paid by our LIFT program.
Correct.
Growth.
Correct.
That primarily centered around economically disadvantaged.
No, sir, the TIA is for all students.
Okay.
That's where the TIA differs from our LIFT program. Our LIFT program is strictly, we only pay on economically disadvantaged, but according to the state statute, the teacher incentive allotment is based on all students, but it is based on the poverty level of the campus.
The campus.
The students at the campus. The higher the poverty level, the higher the funding, the higher the amount that they will earn.
So, A value, all students.
Correct.
So, then would it be fair to say at your list that we have 7 students at Hudson Pep?
7 teachers? Yes, ma'am.
Teachers
Yes,
at
sir.
Hudson Pep. Now, our normal circumstances under which our Hudson Pep existed prior to increased population there.
Yes, sir. They're gaining poverty levels each year.
Okay, so that would be the only, under the TIA level, teachers there would have qualified, since all students. Under our LIFT program, had we not had student growth on increased poverty level at that campus, we would not have had teachers probably eligible for this program. That'd be fair.
It'd be there's a difference. When you look at a teacher's effectiveness level, in some cases, let me clarify, in some cases, there's a difference between a teacher's overall effectiveness level with all students and their effectiveness level with only the ECD students. Let me state that there are cases where with all students, their effectiveness level may be lower, or with all students, their effectiveness level may be higher. It depends.
Right.
They're all good questions.
If a lot of those kids have not reached that would be on the TIA. Our LIFT program, that we're just looking at the growth of all of those kids. That's what I'm saying, right. Got to think about it some more.
Okay.
I'll get back to you. Okay.
Be happy to answer any
I know.
questions. Anything else? Thank you.
Very much.
Was anything on facilities?
I mean, doing the floors and getting and taking advantage of the campuses not being occupied, do the summer cleaning, as we like to call it, during the summertime, so that any moment in time we'll have these campuses occupied again. Back to school. Staff is working hard. Exactly, the high school.
Beautiful, and
Nice.
get them done.
Any floors out, okay.
We don't have anything on ETAA tonight, and on our SB 82 status, that's moving forward with the Texas Education Agency, but the district doesn't anticipate any loss of funds from the 1882, but I think that's something that the staff is working on. The board needs to be cognizant of as we move forward in budget preparation. If we don't get a substantial decrease in funding for the second year of the biennium, as we move forward to the next full 2 years of the next biennium, no one really knows what's going to happen with the sales taxes down and with our oil production being as low as it is. We're going to be conservative as we move forward. We will be restructuring some of the positions in the district as we move forward. Just we'd rather err on the side of caution as much as we can, because no one knows what's going to happen, how long this pandemic is going to last. We are fortunate in where we are with the district's finances, but we're going to be cautious as we move forward, but we are going to move forward, and we are going to be aggressive in meeting the needs of all our students. But just want the board to be aware of the fact that as we move into the budget planning, there's just a lot of uncertainty. Any questions?
I'm glad you kind of brought that up. We're fairly assured, based on what you just said, that 1882 funding not decrease.
I am not being presumptuous enough to speak on the part of the commissioner or our legislative leaders, but I think our governor, especially, and the leadership of the House and the Senate have worked so hard on developing these programs. I just don't anticipate them walking back on these programs and the funding of them. If anything, I would see a reduction in our regular program funding as we move forward to the second year of this biennium and the next biennium, which happened in the downturn of '08. But I'm not clairvoyant. We're just going to move carefully in our planning as we move forward, the best interest of the district and our students. But we're not cutting back on anything. We are just going to be, as we move forward.
Well, I would encourage the board to reflect on the last time there was a downturn in the economy in the state of Texas.
Right.
And I'm even, I don't want to say joyful or happy that we moved to 1882 funding program, but given the history of our legislative body, given what's happening in our economy right now, the uncertainty of what will happen in the next year, you can almost bet we are cutting public schools.
Absolutely, yes, sir.
You can just bet that. And if the governor and the lieutenant governor are showing us that 1882 funding is going to remain level and they're not going to cut it back, you're going to cut funding somewhere, and it's going to be public schools. So, and I'm saying that to say this is that this journey that we started on 1882 now seems to be, you were more clairvoyant than you even knew when you started it, based on the way things are going now. The decrease in sales taxes, the flattening of oil fields in Texas, all of that stuff that generates income, how they fund public schools. I was contemplating this after reading an article, and I just thought, man, are we not fortunate that at least in an effort to diversify the way we do school business in this district. All of the people criticizing what we're doing and questioning the decision-making. This plays out historically like our legislative body normally responds. We'll take less of a hit financially if we manage everything properly than we would have any other way. That is just reassuring to me.
Other question tied to that, one of the things I was thinking about with everything down in the ditch right now, also, we've had wonderful teacher raises, including the legislature doing that, and I'm wondering that thing, I remember I was an employee here in 2008 as a diagnostician, and I remember how we had to scramble to keep everybody employed, even though positions sometimes got downgraded. But have y'all had a chance to think or even talk with everything else going on right now about Plan B if that does go down?
Well, that educators all across the state and all of the major education organizations expressed concern with the passage of House Bill 3 and the additional money that came with it. Mm-hmm. There was nothing in that legislation to refund that money in coming bienniums because the state was really on a great run economically and growth-wise at that point. Well, that's not where we are now. So what's on everyone's mind is, will there be the political will to find the money to fund all of this again? There's a lot of money in the rainy day fund, but the rainy day fund is replenished by the oil revenues, which, we need to see a lot of good things happen. This fall, before the legislature convenes in January, and certainly before they end in May, for the future of all of us. And public education, health and human services are the biggest chunk of the state's money. And we also we have infrastructure needs, and it just goes on and on and on. There will be a big task for our state leadership and our elected representatives this winter and spring. And hopefully things will be better, and we're just going to err on the side of being rather conservative, but we're still going to push forward. We will be asking people to do more. And then if things work out and there's plenty of money, then we'll hire more people and everybody can still do more. There'll just be more of us.
Right.
But no one knows what's going to happen. It's not, it's a challenging time, and I don't see that changing anytime soon.
I was just asking about a Plan B because that could very easily be coming down the pike.
The plan
Nobody knows.
The Plan B is conservative employment practice as we move forward. And as I just said, we'll be asking people to do more. And there will probably be some jobs that won't be filled through attrition.
We did last time, like in 2008, we did that, yes.
Ma'am. It will be real similar.
It'll be across the state, it won't just be Longview ISD, thank goodness, so.
It's
Be all over, in fact, the country.
will be nationwide. It's a frightening thought.
Thank you.
Questions? That's all.
I have a motion for, motion by Dr. Welge. Is there any discussion?
Since the State Board of Education now passed that one item with the African American Studies, did we ever find a instructor or a course?
Any more discussion? Those in favor? It's without opposition. I have a motion to move. Ava Welge and We're going to approve
Minutes, yeah.
both under. Any discussion? Those in favor? Opposition? A motion to approve action item B. Motion by Ted Beard and a second by Troy Simmons. Is there any discussion? Those in favor? No opposed? I have a motion to approve B. Motion by Ian Bauer and a second by Ava Welge. Any discussion? Those in favor? Opposed? Let's give us the financial.
Keeping our eye on the general revenue fund that funds the state of Texas through school districts and what have you. Want the comptroller's office just through their financial
You speak into the mic.
Yeah, each month the
I'm sorry, Joey, they still can't hear you. You're gonna.
filled out. The interest and sinking fund, we had cash and investments of $17,348,935. The revenue was $49,801,973. That's, obviously with the refunding that we did, it includes the refunding revenue, so that's quite a bit different than our adopted budget. Same way with the expenditures, $53,955,224 in our INS expenses. The next statement is child nutrition. Cash on hand was $1,047,790. Revenue was $3,534,832. And then the expenditures, $3,907,739. You'll notice here, this is the first time we've presented, at this point, a deficit in the year-to-date with the food service program. You'll see that our expenditures have exceeded our revenue so far. A lot of that has to do with the fact that we're not serving as many meals, obviously, with where we are with the closure. So this is new to the board to see that at this time of the year having a deficit. I project that when we get to August that this trend will continue. So we do have a healthy fund balance there of $1,314,000. That's been built up over time, and having a reduction in this year will obviously make it that much harder to build it back up. But that's a good thing about having a fund balance is when you have these types of things happen, you have something to fall back on. The last statement is the bond schedule with the update with the interest and principal payments that we made. So we're on track to pay our next payments in August as planned. So if y'all have any questions about the financial report?
Well, back to the food and nutrition, can you give us an update on how many meals we're serving and how is the plan into reality? All this began.
Well, our staff has done a really good job. The transportation and food service working together to get the meals into the hands of the students on a daily basis has been incredible. They've worked really hard, and they're doing a good job, and they're working every day to deliver the meals to the students. The cafeteria is still serving the breakfast and the lunch, and the transportation department is still delivering it to the students. The meal count has gone up from where we began to where we are right now. It's gone up. It's probably leveling off now. I don't have the exact number of where we are this week, but from what I can hear from the operations part of it, everything has come in, and the plan is working every day as well, because we're not hearing as many. We're not hearing the feedback about, well, we need to correct this or we need to correct that. The system is working. So we went from not expecting this to putting a plan in place and actually having a good outcome right now. So guys are well represented. Our staff is doing an excellent job. So I can get you the exact numbers. I just don't have that.
Do you have any board member special reports?
Is it on?
Yes.
Okay. Just real quick, just as I mentioned earlier, the TASB Board of Directors, we're meeting every first Wednesday now with the commissioner as it relates to COVID-19 and so forth. Two of the questions that I actually asked, it was the last two questions. One was, as I mentioned earlier, about guidance to school districts, about opening that TEA has, and at that time they didn't have any. The second one was dealing with data, and as TASB board members, which are all school board members, and for school board members alike, what data is TEA, stand corrected, able to give school districts as it relates to making those data-based decisions. As I spoke earlier about that digital divide, how many students have, that were homeless and things of that nature, so that districts can plan accordingly. So the response on the data, it's going to be coming out within the next month or two rolling, that he said, with different aspects of the data about ECD students, homeless, and things of that nature. So that's to come. And then lastly, the 1556 training, which we're supposed to get each year, which is now called Evaluating and Improving Student Outcomes. TEA, they extended that until September 1, that opportunity for trustees to go ahead and take it online. TASB is going to be giving a webinar at the end of this month as it relates to that, and some of the biggest changes that they'll be talking about on that webinar more likely will be the fact that the star, the lack of the star this go around, and any HB3 goals, or changes to the HB3 goals. So, and that's all I have.
Any other? We have. We have any requests for open forum? Right?
Probably not. It doesn't work.
Then we will convene, and it is 6:47, and we will convene in closed session under the Texas Open Meetings Act. Wait, are we on, we're not on yet. What? We're back in open session. Do I have a? Okay, I have a motion by Dr. Chris Mack and a second by Dr. Tori Simmons. Is there a motion? Those in favor? Now. Meeting. Adjourned.